Hello friends, I am Himanshu Pratap Singh and in this audio programming I am recording an important book on trading. It's actually psychological book. The Secrets title of the book is this: The Secrets to Emotion Free Trading. How to consistently act in your own best interest with your off the floor trading. Written by Larry Levin. So, starting from, let's quick review of the table of contents. The Tale of Two Traders, Introduction, then Acting in Your Own Best Interest, Section 1, Skills you do need, Chapter 1, Setting and Accomplishing Realistic Goals, Chapter 2, Learning to Love to Take a Loss, Chapter 3, Time has no bearing on money, Chapter 4, Remaining Flexible. Chapter 5, Do you deserve to make money? Chapter 6, Trading Rules. Chapter 7, Flawless Execution. Chapter 8, The Use of Stop Orders. Chapter 9, How to Deal with the Market when it never stops moving. Chapter 10, Being Objective. Chapter 11, Being an Active Winner and Loser. Chapter 12, Paper Trading After a Loss. Chapter 13, Self Improvement. Sections second, Skills you don't need. Chapter 14, The Worst Mistake you can make. Chapter 15, Revenge Trading. Chapter 16, Wishing, Hoping and Praying. Chapter 17, Doubling Up, Adding to a Losing Position. Chapter 18, Greed. Chapter 19, Fear. Section 3rd, How to Improve Yourself. Chapter 20, What is Psycho-Cybernetics? Chapter 21, Some Background to Get You Started. Chapter 22, Mental Pictures. Chapter 23, The Success Mechanism and the Failure Mechanism. Chapter 24, Forgiveness. Chapter 25, Famous People Use Psycho-Cybernetics. Chapter 26, How to Use Visualization Techniques to Improve Your Trading. Sorry. Chapter 27, Goal Setting Exercise. Chapter 28, Visualizing Large Windfalls. Chapter 29, Statement Equity Increase. Chapter 30, Pulling the Trigger Exercise. Chapter 31, Limiting Risk Exercise. Chapter 32, Clearing the Calculator. Chapter 33, Make Your Own Visualization Exercises. Chapter 34, More Relaxation Exercises. Chapter 35, Why Visualization Techniques Work. Then Bibliography, then Grocery. So let's start with the tale of two traders. Our first trader is Ned. Ned is an off-the-floor trader who day trades the S&P 500 futures. He's been trying to be consistently successful for the last 6 months. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out very well. But it's not because of his methods that he is having so much trouble. No, the main reason Ned is not making the kind of money he wants is because he cannot control his emotions and consistently act in his own best interest. From the very beginning, Ned was confident he would be successful day trading the S&Ps. He'd been very successful in his previous business. Ned owned a retail printing company and he had learned to make good sound business decisions that helped him become very successful. He almost never made any major mistakes that were detrimental to the business. In fact, in over the 9 years he owned the company, he really prided himself in always looking at the big picture and keeping his business moving forward. On the rare occasion when something did go wrong, Ned worked at a lightning speed to fix the problem, and many times he turned the crisis into an opportunity. Because of the smart decisions he had often made, Ned was sure he could carry this into his new career of commodity trading. At least that's what he thought would happen. So, when Ned received a generous offer from a corporation to buy his printing company, he decided this might be the time to take the money and run. It wasn't that difficult for him to decide to sell. He definitely loved having his own business, and of course, it was that much more rewarding because he was successful. But for the last 2 years, he had been so busy that he was working about 64 to 70 hours a week. That left very little time for him to spend with his family. This made the decision to sell very easy for him. Another thing that made Ned's decision easy was that he wanted to try a new business. He had learned as much as he could about commodity trading. He had reading as many books and magazines he could get his hands on. He definitely thought he could transfer his successful business practices to commodity trading. Thus, he could trade from home and be able to spend a lot more time with his family. He was quite confident he would be a success in this endeavor too. Boy, was he in for a surprise! The second trader in our story is James. James also wanted to day trade the S&P 500 futures. His background is a little different than Ned's. James has spent the last 4 years working at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, where the S&P 500 futures are traded. What James was not a trader at the CME. He had basically worked his way up from a runner. He was working for a retail commodity firm as a phone clerk. His job was to put in and buy and sell orders for customers using land hand signals, not land, of course. From the first day James had started working at the exchange, he had always wanted to be a trader. He knew he didn't have enough money to buy a seat on the exchange, which costs about 2 lakh dollar. He thought his best chance to become a trader was to learn all he could from the various floor traders and other people on the trading floor, and then trade from off the floor where he wouldn't have to own a seat. James spent as much time as possible trying to learn how people in the commodity business made money. He was sure there had to be some very specific techniques only the real successful people were using. He certainly knew, like everybody else, that 80 to 90% of the people lost money trading. He was determined to learn what he needed to know so he could be successful when he started trading from off the floor. He wanted to start trading as soon as possible. James made a point of trying to meet as many successful traders both on and off the floor as he could. He was lucky enough to be exposed to all these successful people on the floor and in the various offices at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. He thought if he could figure out exactly what the successful traders were doing, he could model his own trading of them. He spent every free moment talking to the various traders that he'd met and tried to find out the secrets of their success. He learned a lot. He learned all kinds of different technical methods that the various floor traders and off the floor traders used. James had never traded a futures contract in his life. What the more he talked to different traders, the more his confidence grew. He was sure with the experience he was getting, he would surely be a successful off the floor trader, but he still needed one more important lesson. Ned began trading. He started with $15,000 in his account and decided he would only trade one contract at a time until he was sure he had the hang of things. Things actually started off fairly well for Ned. His first trade made 320 points, $800 before commission charges. Obviously, Ned felt very good about his start. Unfortunately, things went downhill from there. On his next four trades, he lost on all four. The problem was that Ned had good profits on two of those four trades, but he failed to take them because he would look for a lot more than the market was offering. So, in his first week, instead of making a small profit or breaking even with the four trades, he ended up losing the original $800 and even another 1200 more dollar. This was very frustrating and confusing to Ned. He obviously needed to do a lot better if he was going to be successful in this business. But not to worry, it was only the first week. He certainly didn't make a fortune his first week in the printing business. The next week started basically the same as the first. His first trade on Monday was another nice winner of 280 points, $700. But the downhill slide started again. Ned did his next trade on Tuesday of that week. He got in and the market went his way about 120 points. Ned knew if he could make 200 points on his trade, he could get back to even. So that is what he decided to look for in this trade. He put an order to get him out of the market with the 200 point profit. The problem is the market only went 150 points his way, and Ned did not trail his stop order to lock in a profit or at least move his stop to break even. He really want to get that 200 point profit so he could be even, but the market came all the way back and not only took away the 150 points in profit it was offering, but also took away the amount he was originally risking when the market hit his stop order. Ned ended up losing $400 on this trade. Now Ned was very frustrated. Sitting at his desk, he considered throwing his empty ceramic coffee cup across the room at the wall. Luckily, he resisted doing this as the thought of getting the broom and dustbin to pick up broken glass didn't seem like it would fix his losing trades. Nevertheless, Ned was extremely frustrated and needed to come up with a way to fix things. One of the most important things you can do is to set a daily, weekly, and monthly goal for yourself. James was getting some advice from one of the most successful off the floor traders he knew. This particular off the floor trader had made over $500,000 a year for the last 4 years, so James knew he was getting good advice. The way to be successful is to have measurable goals for yourself. The off the floor trader continued, and then you have to continually visualize yourself reaching those goals. James understood about setting goals, but he really wasn't sure what the visualization part meant. He knew he would need to find out what that was all about James continued to talk to as many successful traders as he could. They all seemed to say the same things. Goal setting was extremely important. Just trying to make money each day without a goal was a road to failure. It seemed like almost every trader James talked with really stressed the daily goal setting idea. In fact, it seemed the more successful the trader, the more they stressed goal setting. James made a strong mental note that if he were to be successful, he would need to have very specific goals as to how much he wanted to make each day, as well as how much he was willing to lose. James found another fairly successful floor trader named Bob. Bob was nice enough to give James some advice. Yes, I agree with you. You do need to set specific goals, Bob said. But I would say just as important, you must visualize your success each and every day. You must see yourself very clearly as a successful trader. If you can't see yourself in your mind's eye as a success, there is no chance you will become successful. Bob told James about a book he should definitely read. Get the book Psycho Cybernetics. It will tell you everything you need to know about visualizing your success. It's the same method professional athletes use, but it's really no different in our business. To be a successful trader, you must see yourself as a successful trader, even if it's not true yet. James did not hesitate following Bob's advice. He went out and bought a copy of Psycho-Cybernetics. He began studying immediately. James learned the different visualization techniques and began to use them on a daily basis. Even though he had yet to start trading through his visualizations, he had already started to see himself in his mind's eye as a successful off the floor trader. This would play a big part of why James would become successful. Ned thought about the difficult time he was having. He needed to come up with a way to get better results. He thought that maybe the indicators and methods he was using were the problem. Ned decided to find some new methods to trade with. He bought various books and courses on how to trade the S&P 500. Each time he went through these materials, he was sure he would start having better results. The ideas and examples seemed to make a lot of sense to him. Ned decided to use some of these new methods in his trading and get rid of old methods he was using. He was sure it was the techniques he was using that were causing him to lose money. Unfortunately, it was not his methods that were causing his losses, not losses. Ned started using these new methods to trade and was actually doing quite well of a couple of days. But then he made a serious mistake. He had a losing trade and got very angry. He had gotten stopped out of a position that he was sure was going to be a big winner. As soon as he got stopped out, the market went his way almost 600 points in 15 minutes. Ned decided he wasn't going to let the market take his money. He proceeded to do three more trades. He let his emotions get the best of him and made the near fatal mistake of trading without stop orders. At the end of the day, Ned had lost over $7,000. His broker had forced him to get out of a position that was over 1,000 points against him. Ned wanted to stay in the position overnight to see if it would recover. Ned swore at his broker before he hung up on him. This time, Ned did throw his coffee cup across the room. It shattered against the bookcase and made a deafening crash. His wife ran into his office to see what was wrong. "What happened?" she asked. "What was that noise?" Ned didn't need to answer as she looked over at the bookcase and saw all the broken glass on the floor. She told Ned she would get the broom. "Just leave it," Ned snapped at his wife. He couldn't remember even using a tone like that with the woman he planned on spending the rest of his life with. Without uttering another word, she walked out of his office. 10 minutes ago, Ned thought he couldn't ever feel worse than he felt at that time. Now he felt worse. James gave his 2 week notice to his employer and began to get set up for his off the floor trading career. He had gotten his real time quotes and charts set up. He had opened a trading account, and in about 2 weeks he would be ready to give his endeavor a try. James continued to visualize himself reaching his daily, weekly, and monthly goals in his mind's eye. He kept seeing himself finding opportunities in the market and taking advantages of them. He kept seeing himself trailing his stop orders to lock in profits and avoid having winning trades turn into losers. He kept seeing these images in his mind until they became crystal clear. He visualized his equity continuing to rise in his account, not a listening speed but more at a slow, steady rate. He felt if he could just get himself to make $250 each day, it would be a great way to start. He realized that trying to make thousands of dollars each and every day was just not realistic for him. James began trading on Monday. He had his goal in mind. He had spent a lot of time over the last couple of months visualizing that he would do and how he would react in as many possible situations as he could. In fact, he saw these things in his mind so often that he felt like they had actually happened for a year. That really gave James a lot of confidence. Even though he had not even traded before, he felt like he had traded thousands of times. It showed in his results. James' very first day was a success. He had made only one trade and made $275. He considered trading more, but then remembered that his goal was to try and make $250 a day, and doing another trade could make him more money, but it could also cost him the money he had already made. He decided to just paper trade to the rest of the day and keep his attained goal intact. One of the most important lessons James had learned from other traders he knew both on and off the floor was the reason people were successful in this business was because they were able to find the ability to act in their own best interest. He knew that hoping and praying the market would move in a certain direction certainly had no bearing on whether the market actually did move in that direction. No, the thing that made people successful at trading was when they did what was in their best interest to get winning trades and avoid losing trades, or at least to keep the losing trades small. For instance, James may have wanted to make 250 points on his next trade. What if most the market is offering at that time is only 150 points? And then it's obvious no matter how much you wanted to 250 points in this trade, the most you can possibly attain is 150 points, and probably not even that much. You can't force the market to do something. You can't control the market to do what you want. So you must control yourself to do what is in your best interest. Because of James' exposure to so many traders who understood that idea, it wasn't very difficult for him to act that way too. It wasn't easy, but it was probably easier for him than it would be for most others. Because of that fact, James trading did very well over the next several weeks. He consistently made between 600 to $800 a week for his first month. Sure, just like anybody, James had some losing trades and made some mistakes. When James did have a losing trade, he would visualize in his mind that he could have done differently to make the trade a success or to make the loss even less. He would see in his mind what he should do the next time the situation presents itself. He would do this with his winning trades also. He would think of ways he could have managed the trade better and then see that picture in his mind over and over again. Consistently doing these things helped James to make over $15,000 in his first 6 months of trading. He kept his goal clearly in mind and did this and did what was in his best interest to keep moving towards the goal. Did it work perfectly? No. What it worked well enough to get him on pace to making the same amount of money he was making at his old job. But now he was doing it the way he wanted to do it by trading for a living from home. Ned was not as lucky as James. He was not exposed to people who could teach him the lessons that James had learned. Because of that, Ned decided that trading was not going to work out for him. He was now back at the printing business again. He still dreams of trading. He probably could be successful at it if he only learned to act in his own best interest, but he never did. So let's start the introduction. Acting in your own best interest. You will see this theme throughout this book. It is the most important concept you can learn in order to be a successful trader. If you can master this skill, you can be very successful in this business. But without it, you are destined to fail. It really is that simple. If you can learn to act in your own best interest, you will make a lot of money trading. If you don't learn to act in your own best interest, you will lose a lot of money trading. You see, the futures markets work in a very different way than almost everything else in life. There is more freedom in this business than probably any other business in the world. You can do what you want when you want, pretty much any time the market is open. The only thing that will hold you back is running out of money. Other than that, you have all the freedom in the world to do whatever you want in the market. Trading really is different from everything else we do in life. In the everyday environment, you can have control at least somewhat by taking actions that affect the environment. For example, if you wanted to listen to some music, you would have to turn on the radio. If you push the power button on the radio, music will come out of the radio. If you don't push the power button, the radio will not turn on. Another example would be if you wanted to start your car. If you put the key in the ignition and turn it, the car will most likely start because you did something to affect that change. If you don't turn the key, the car will not start. You must change the environment by turning the key to get the car to start. Every day we all do things to affect changes the on the environment. We put our bank card in the money machine to get cash out. We push the button on the coffee maker to make coffee come out in the morning. These are all changes that we can consciously make happen. What here's the difference? In trading, you can't control what the market will do. No matter how much you want the market to go in a certain direction, there is nothing you can do to make it go in that direction. There is no effect that you can cause on the market to make it do what you want it to do. We can't push a button, we can't turn a key. Nothing we do will make the market do what we want it to do. Nothing at all. So, if we can't control the market and what it will do, then the only thing that will make us successful is if we can control ourselves. And that's easier said than done. But it's the reality of successful trader trading. Again, you can't control what the market will do, so you must control what you will do. I've met hundreds and hundreds of traders, and unfortunately, many of them fail to trading. Most never learn the proper skills they need to be successful. Most of them focus so hard on finding the perfect technical method or mechanical system, and very few people realize that is much less than half the better. A person with good self discipline, what a poor trading method will outperform a person with the poor self discipline but the best trading method currently available. Being able to act in your own best interest is much more important than finding the perfect technical method. As I often say, a person with good self discipline but a poor trading method will outperform a person with the poor self discipline but the best trading method currently available. It will work like this every time. Quite frequently, I talk to people who have had very large profits in certain trades. For example, I remember a time when a person called me and told me he had 800 points in a three lot trade in the S&P's worth approximately $6,000. But even with that big profit, this particular trader still lost money on the trade. When I asked why he didn't trail his protective stop order to lock in some profit, he told me he was looking for the big home run. Right then, I knew this person didn't have his best interest in mind. Sure, we all want those huge winning trades, but one thing we must all remember is we can't control what the market will do. So we must be prepared for whatever it does do. Thus, a person who gets 800 points in an S&P trade, not an easy thing to do, must have his best interest in mind and not allow all of that profit to evaporate, even if that means missing out on the big winner. This book is broken up into three sections. The first section is called Skills You Do Need and is made up of all the skills I believe you must have to be successful in the trading environment. These include ideas like setting and accomplishing goals, being an active winner and loser, flawless execution of your trades, etc. The second section is called skills you don't need. Includes in this section are chapters on wishing, hoping, and praying. Also included is a chapter called revenge trading. Another chapter is called emotions, fear, anger, and greed. This section will help you to know the things you must stay away from to become successful with your trading. The third and final section is made up of ideas originally put together many years ago by the famed Dr. Maxwell Maltz, who coined the term psycho-cybernetics. This section is called How to Improve Yourself. The chapters in this section will give you background on how psycho-cybernetics works and how you can use it to greatly improve your trading results. This section contains the most important part of this book, step by step exercises to teach you how to act in your own best interest and deal best with the emotional side of trading. These exercises are all based on the works of Dr. Maxwell Maltz and Psycho Cybernetics. So, thank you.